Welcome, friends, to the Total Body Lab bi-weekly Friends and Clients chat. My name is Katya Gorbacheva, and thank you for joining. Today, we have a really cool topic. It is training when you are older, or how does training change as you age and switch decades, right? So let's, as usual, welcome the team members. We have some new people here, which is really exciting, or I guess old new people. Megan is an OG member. Welcome back. And here's Michelle and Carol. Good to see you, ladies. I guess let's start with the wins of the week, as we always do. So Megan, you haven't been on the call before, I think, right?
I haven't.
You haven't. I cannot hear you. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes. Okay.
We could hear Megan.
Oh, I can hear Megan. Yay. Okay. Well, maybe Michelle and Carol, you can share some wins so Megan knows what the hell we're doing and she can share after.
Help you. So I'm struggling with wins this week just because it's been a very busy week. So I haven't made it to the gym very much. I have managed to keep food in check. So that's my win.
That's a pretty big one.
And I kind of feel the same way, even though I've been to the gym more than she has. But I feel like my biggest one is I've actually really enjoyed the last couple workouts. Like I leave the gym feeling like I had fun. And that includes when we went to West Virginia, I got to work out with my sister, which doesn't happen very often.
Oh, that's awesome.
So yeah, so I've actually had fun working out, which normally I just do it because that's what I need to do. I don't hate it. I just don't really enjoy it so much.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Sometimes when I just like have the grind and I can't do like shoulders or some crazy stuff, I'm like, oh, I have a meet coming up. I can't just do random crap because I feel like it. But after the meet, totally will. Totally like the two workouts that are going to be completely just super random. So I'm glad I guessed what you would enjoy. Awesome. Hey, David, your microphone or camera is not connected, so I can't add you to the stream. But if you fix it, I will add you. Okay, while David is working on it, Megan, what's up? You want to introduce yourself? Who the hell are you? What do you do? Why are you here?
Excellent. Well, I got a text this morning reminding me that I'm old and had feedback. Could have things to say.
I'm glad that's how everybody took it.
Over here. No, it was just kind of funny. It was like, yeah, I guess so. Actually, I feel like much better than I did in my 20s. And I think a lot of it was just like maybe being more intentional with like physical anything. So actually I felt I did go to the gym too. And for a while I felt like last year I was making a lot of progress and building upon like lifting weights, and I kind of let it go for a little bit. And I feel like this week I felt a little bit like that progress, which feels nice. And it's nice to remember not everything happens at once. It's all, it can be incremental. Okay, and I need to be myself.
Yeah, that's true. We have a special guest here today. It's Kathy Hester. I hope she turns on her camera and mic in a second too. Thanks for sharing, Megan, and it's really good to have you back. What do you do? Do you want to tell people? Megan.
Wait, what?
What do you do?
Oh,
I don't know anything about you. Who are you? What do you like?
I'm a filmmaker and photographer, and sometimes web designer, social media person, I guess you would say. And and I've recently really been getting into like dance, going to ecstatic dance meetups where basically you just move however your body feels and you're around other people, and it's an alcohol-free environment, and so it's meant to be like a sort of safe space to move freely. And I've just found that to be so just life-giving. And then been taking dance classes, and also been swimming a lot lately, just putting that into like a sort of weekly routine of just being in water out in nature. And it's just I'm feeling good about my life right now.
That's awesome. I actually saw a post on Instagram from a friend of a friend who was like, "It's August already. Do you feel like you have just wasted your summer? Here's what I have wasted. I haven't camped. I haven't swam. I haven't wandered through the fields picking wildflowers." And then he just lists the stuff he hasn't done. And I'm like, damn, we're doing pretty good. We're actually enjoying our summers.
Yeah. I mean, if you can stand the heat, like if you can figure out how to
Right.
do it and not get heated exhaustion, that's great.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, David joined next, so maybe you can share some wins with us. You don't have to turn on camera if you don't want to. Hey, David. I hear Scrappy running around.
Oh, hey, sorry. I'm
No worries.
trying to make some food for myself.
Okay.
No real wins this week. I'm just kind of bouncing back from travel and just kind of getting back into the swing of things.
I disagree. I feel like you're doing a lot more bodybuilding movements that you've wanted to do like since forever, and we didn't let you, and now you have all of them. Isn't that a huge win?
I guess I didn't really realize that there was more of those in there. I didn't recognize them. I mean, certainly I am doing more upper body movements for sure. So yeah, which I think is good.
Awesome. And finally, we have Kathy and Cheryl here. So to those who don't know, Kathy Hester is a chef, and she has multiple cookbooks. She had me on her show a couple of weeks ago. That was super fun. We're going to do another one next Wednesday. So anyways, why don't you introduce yourselves, I guess one by one, Kathy, and then Cheryl, or vice versa.
So Cheryl isn't on my Zoom, but she's my wife. So she's my wife. And you want to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. I just finished like a week ago the McDougall 12-day program, which is more of an eating plan sort of thing. And so I'm off my blood pressure medication, lost some weight, and we've been doing more moving because Cheryl is feeling better. Cheryl has I have a piece of rice here. Did you guys see that? That's delightful. If anybody else thought you would be embarrassed, I took it for all of you. Okay. But you've got big news.
Yeah.
So,
I think you remember, Katya, that we were going to just she was going to take the program and I was just going to kind of support her and sit along and all that kind of stuff. And so we started that Friday and I watched all the lectures and everything, and I was doing everything alongside of her and eating everything with her. And by Tuesday, we were sending an email to them asking if we could add me in on the program because I needed to get some medical advice from Dr. Lim because my blood sugars were already dropping so much.
It's great.
That I was getting nervous that I was going to get into a bad situation. And as it turned out, I am now completely off all of my diabetes drugs. No more insulin, no more Ozempic, no more metformin.
It's amazing. And the thing
That's
is
phenomenal. And you did this all in 12 days of McDougall program?
Actually, it was even less than that for her. It was like 5 days. And
to those who don't know, can you please tell people who is Dr. McDougall, who is Dr. Lin, what the hell is the program?
Absolutely. So I know that you guys are all like bodybuilder and working out. So this is it's adjacent because it's about healthy eating, right? Because I know Katya doesn't let you just eat a bunch of Oreos and French fries, right? Not that she would make you. I could see that for me, we're friends. Maybe she'd come to my house and I don't know. But you definitely talk to me when we talk about things about having, real good healthy food added into your diet. It's one thing to have an Oreo. It's another thing to have Oreos for lunch. Kind of is what I'm kind of implying.
Kathy, who is Dr. McDougall?
Dr. McDougall He did the starch solution like 50 years ago.
Not 50.
Yeah, it was like in the
I guess it was
yeah,
late
it was
70s.
50s 50 years ago. And so it's a whole food plant-based diet with no oil, basically. And if you're not looking to lose weight, because we are, then you can add in nuts, seeds, avocados, things like that. Those are usually, and he talks about calorie density. So like how many calories are in a pound of oil versus a pound of potatoes. That's kind of his way of looking at, because it talks about filling up your stomach and being satisfied. But so it's not like a really crazy diet. I think the only exclusion, which again, I'm not trying to push this on anybody either, is just no refined oils. So it's a pretty basic diet and it's pretty easy. And I thought I was not going to see very many results because I cook really close to that, but we've been eating out a lot. And in those 12 days, I lost 7.5 pounds. So it's,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's crazy.
And I mean, basically, we just cut out the oil and all the processed like fake meats and stuff that I was eating. I'm not doing any of that anymore. Like, just cut all that out, and we're just eating very basically like rice and vegetables, potatoes and vegetables, you know,
Beans.
of course, beans. And
Yeah.
she, you know, of course, she can doctor anything up to make it taste like whatever I want it to. But I mean, I'm finding it. This is probably the first thing that we both agreed on
Yes.
and are actually in step on, and it's making a huge difference that we're both on board doing it.
The coolest thing is, and then we'll stop, is that we took an almost 4-mile hike together, which Cheryl hasn't been able to do.
Yeah.
So for us, you know, for us, losing some weight has helped our health and helped us be able to do more stuff.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congrats, guys. I haven't dug too much into the Dr. McDougall's program, but at Total Body Lab, we normally do like macronutrient based nutrition. So it totally checks out. Like if you eat mainly carbs, they have 4 calories per gram rather than oil, especially refined oil is very calorie dense. So yeah, duh, if you remove that, you'll lose weight. And if you stop eating out, they usually put oil and like they don't tell you. So like about per cup of whatever you get, there's about a tablespoon of oil. That's like 120 calories. So if you eat out and the portion is, I don't know, 2 cups, you get 240 extra calories out of nowhere. I don't think there's anything wrong with fake meats, but they're also calorie dense. So yep, I'm glad this has worked for you. Harsh, what's up? How are you doing? We have some new people here. Megan is my friend and videographer and photographer, and Kathy and Cheryl are also good friends from the local vegan community. I forgot what you do, Cheryl, but Kathy is a chef.
That's cool. What's up with me, I guess?
And Harsh is a powerlifter.
Yeah, I don't know, the usual, I guess. I also like lost weight, which I'm happy with. I'm like down to 123, which is like
what the hell? I'm not happy that you lost weight. What the hell? Do you not want to bench?
My bench is not dropping. Like my bench is improving.
Don't lose weight.
My bench is improving. What's the issue here?
Okay, fine. Keep talking.
Anyways, like I still have to cut like at least 2 or 3 pounds.
You can water cut that and gut cut that. We're gonna be fine.
Things are, but okay. Maybe I shouldn't be happy about this. Well, you're not happy, so okay. Yeah, that, and then yeah, I guess that's about it. Recovering from, I lifted 2 days in a row, which was a mistake. Now I'm tired today, and yeah, I think I'll be fine for tomorrow. But it was annoying. I didn't get what I wanted to from my deadlifts yesterday, but that's what it is.
So you decided to do some other random crap.
No, not yesterday. That was on Tuesday.
That was on Tuesday. Okay. Harsh is a very interesting person. Sometimes, like, we'll write him a program that we think in English, you know, squat, I don't know, 3 by 10 means squat 3 by 10. To Harsh, sometimes it reads squat maximum weight for however maximum amount of reps, and then do some box squats, and then do some other stuff. So yeah, maybe there's a language problem in there. So anyways, I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad you recovered. In terms of competition, you have November meet, yeah?
Yeah. So yeah, it's November 11th. It got changed by a week.
In Raleigh?
No, it's in Denver, North Carolina.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, well,
So like also
local, so
November 4th, which is like a week before the competition, there is a local competition, which is like where I met you last year. I'm going to take part in that. I hope.
Where?
Huh?
At TRC?
Yeah, TRC.
Wait, did you just say you're going to take place in a local competition a week before your competition? Because that's not like super compatible with maximum performance.
Okay, so this is something that I didn't I don't have the seal of approval for, and I can see like
That's
crimson.
because no one in their right mind would tell you to do that. That's why you don't have the seal of approval.
Okay.
Thank you, David.
Sorry, I don't mean to be a dick about it. It's just like, do you want to do well at one of these two meets? You gotta.
I want to do well on both of those two meets.
Well, you can't. That's like saying you want to do well in the Super Bowl and at the Olympics in ping pong in the same month. Like, you can't do that. Like, you got to pick one and you got to prepare for it. If you want to do well at the meet, you got to prepare. You got to focus on that meet. You got to do what you have to do it. I'll shut up now.
Okay.
I mean, if you're doing it for fun, that's totally different. But if you're doing it to maximize your performance, it's another question.
Okay, well, this is something I have to think about, but obviously I want to do it because it is fun and because I want to win. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree with David. I'm glad you brought this up, Harsh. I don't think it's a good idea to do a maximum lift at your local gym where everybody sees you anyways and everybody knows you're the strongest guy anyways. Like, who cares about that? I'd rather rest really well and win big at the actual meet that you've signed up for. I think that's a better course
So,
of
but
action.
you think, okay, so like just so it's 7 days, 7 days apart, right?
Yes, I don't think it's going to be enough to recover for you,
Okay.
based on my experience.
Okay.
You can talk to Alexi, see what he says.
Yeah. Okay. Well. What else? Yeah.
And what are you trying to make weight? Like, where can I mean, I hate to jump in, but someone has to talk sense to you. What weight are you trying to make for the meet, and where are you?
So for the meet, I need to lose 2 more pounds. Yeah.
Well, wait, you say you need to lose 2 more pounds, but like, what does that mean to you?
60 kilo category is the competition.
So you want to weigh 60 kilos for the meet? And where do you weigh right now? Like 60.5 kilos?
I weigh 133.5. I don't know what that is. But
Okay.
like 60 kilos is like 131.
Like, aesthetically, whatever you do with your body is 100%. That's not where I'm coming from. I'm coming from
He does weigh 60 and a half, David. He does.
So, okay. I'm coming from a perspective of maximum performance for the meet. Like, I don't care what you do with your body as far as like what you do with your body. But if you want maximum performance for your meet, you don't want to weigh 133 pounds at 133 pound weigh-in. You want to be 140 pounds when you're on the stage. You want to be heavier than anyone else because you have more muscle. You want to water cut your way into that. Well, I mean, which federation is it? Do you have a 24-hour or a 2-hour weigh-in?
It's USAPL. I don't know.
2-hour weigh-in.
2-hour weigh-in. So you don't want to cut like super much, but you
can still cut 4 pounds.
Maybe 4 pounds to go in there.
You're saying I can cut 4 pounds in 2 hours? Like not.
People cut 20 pounds in 2 hours.
61 pounds for nationals, and I competed at over 170. Now that's a 24-hour weigh-in, but I assure you, I was at like 168 2 hours after that damn weigh-in. And again, it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. But if you're trying to maximize your performance, You want a gut cut because you don't want to be carrying colon contents and lifting colon contents. You want to be lifting weight, and it's just part of the sport. If you want to maximize performance, if you just want to show up and do it, it's cool too.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, Harsh, we can talk on the phone about that maybe after tonight's call and develop a little bit of a better strategy. I don't want for you to just go it along and be like, oh, I'm going to lose weight without having talked to Alexi or myself. Like, we're here to help. You can talk to David or, Michelle Carroll, anybody else who's competed before. You don't want to weigh too little. Most people water cut and gut cut. 2 pounds is absolutely nothing. I've had clients who've cut 20 pounds in 2 hours. I don't think that's very smart, but like, it's doable. He cut from 82 kilos to 75, and he, I think, got third last year, Cordero, at NC State meet. So anyways, we're going to talk about that. Please don't lose any more weight. Cool?
Okay.
Great. Yay. He's like, okay, shaking his head. Okay. Anyways, we're going to move on to the topic of today's conversation. I'm glad everybody's chiming in and helping. And David, appreciate your sensible commentary. So, folks who have been training for a while, if you have been an athlete when you were younger, my first question is, how did you feel recovery went for you? Was it easier or was it harder? Was it easier because you were younger and like clearly it was just for that reason? Or was it harder because you just didn't really know what you were doing? You were always tired. You were doing random workouts. I'll share my experience in the end. But yeah, anybody can jump in.
So for me, I think as I've gotten older, it takes longer to recover.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I was younger and working out, I don't know that I really thought about it much, honestly. I didn't have to think about it. Injuries, recovered much faster from injuries, didn't have to be so concerned about overworking muscles as much. So for me, it's just being conscious of that. And as I get older and older, it becomes more and more of something I have to pay attention to.
Definitely have to listen to your body a little more than like when I was, when I was younger, I played sports in college. So I was on training, like hard training programs. And then I just stopped it all. And I got back into lifting when I was probably late 30s, maybe 40s. And then I started running and I had an ankle issue and I just ran through it, training for my first half marathon, thinking, oh, it'll be fine. And then after the half marathon, I couldn't run for 10 months. So then at that point, I was like, okay, things are different. If something hurts, stop. So as you know, Katya, when something hurts, I stop and I don't do it. So
I like that about you because some people do it and then they're out of commission for a very long time.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I also think that, well, for me, diet has to be more dialed in.
yes.
Just my metabolism is much, much slower than it was 30 years ago. So got to be more careful.
Yeah. When did you notice there was like a significant switch between like, oh, I can't just eat random crap and pizza and beer every day. Like I actually have to. Was it from like 30 to 40, or from 40 to 50 or like?
I will say it was probably 30s to 40s. So yeah, I'm going to guess it was about that. Yeah.
Mine's a little different because I played sports in college, and then when I stopped college, I also got my first full-time job where I had a desk with a food drawer. And then probably about that, I was probably mid-20s or so, but I also decided to get my blood sugar under control because anybody who's diabetic knows if your blood sugar is high and out of control, you're going to be thin. And then as soon as you try to take care of it, you'll put on some weight. So I decided to take care of my blood sugar and packed on like 60 pounds in like 9 months. So I don't know if my situation really counts. It's been tough ever since.
A lot more people than we think have blood sugar issues.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. the nutrition front, what's interesting is just this past week. I mean, I know like the lesson is I have to have like a really good like protein oriented breakfast that's like filling, but like 2 times this freaking past week I've had like kind of a sugary sweet, like maybe yogurt and fruit, or I went over to a friend's house and had pancakes for breakfast. And both of those evenings I was either like I was on a shoot that required me to stand behind a camera for a couple hours in heat, and the other time I've recently, I used to do capoeira a couple of years ago and I'm getting back into it, and that evening I had class, and both of those times I felt so faint and like dizzy, and like, and I knew it like in my head, like, oh, you have to be aware of what you're eating for breakfast, like that's silly, what are you doing to yourself? But it's just like, yeah, like after a certain point, after pain, it's like, oh yeah, that wisdom sets in. It's like, yeah, your body's not gonna like that anymore.
Nice. I'm going to share my experience a little bit. I actually think my recovery and everything went like first really up because I was learning so much more about nutrition and like sports. I was just doing such random crap when I was a teenager. I didn't know anything about it. And my recovery was terrible. I couldn't like run a mile ever until maybe 25, 26, like right after college. No, I guess until like 23, 24 when I was turning vegan. But yeah, I guess with eating less animal products, it has helped my recovery significantly. So it's that, some experience, some knowledge. So I feel much better now. And I used to recover faster, probably up until I started competitively powerlifting. Now I recover, at a normal rate for my age, probably, because the weights are pretty large. But it's still more fun and definitely better because it's not random anymore. And I just feel calm because I know what to expect when I do a certain workout and when I eat a certain thing. When I go to Veg Fest and eat all of the desserts, I know I'm going to be like Megan was saying, like I'm going to be faint next day. And yeah. So knowing is a plus. Less surprises. What about the rest of y'all?
I noticed that I am like, it takes me a lot longer now to recover than it used to when I was younger. Like that day we went with you and worked out, like the next day, I felt like I thought I need help being lowered down onto the toilet because
that's the joke that I usually make. Yeah. How's sitting on the toilet going?
the squats were a little hard, but then the next day after that I was coming back pretty good. Yeah.
I think it was also like one of the hottest days of the summer. And we were outside. We were kind of we didn't think to ask. So it was a little bit of a surprise. David was lovely and gave us some water and things. So we didn't come prepared at all. But Cheryl used to play a lot of
sports. And but much like Carol, in my mid-20s I got a job, and once you got a job, then it was like everything kind of went downhill because then working became the priority instead of anything else. And back then, sometimes had to work 2 or 3 different jobs just to make ends meet for a while. And so I didn't get a whole lot of exercise. Luckily, usually at least one of those jobs would involve me being on my feet a lot. But I noticed, was it December? I took a tumble on the deck on some ice. Didn't see it. Feet went out from underneath me and I landed really hard, really painfully. And in the past, I'd take a tumble like that and I'd be sore. And then the next day, I'd kind of be like starting to feel a little better already kind of thing. Maybe have some aches and pains that lasted, maybe 4 or 5 days. But I want to tell you, after that fall, it took me good 2 months before everything was back to normal. Like hip and my ankle that I landed on. It just took forever for that to heal, and it was very shocking to me. I think that was the first time that I even mentioned to her, like, really being aware of how much longer it was taking for something to heal, and it just surprised me, actually.
And that was also at a point where she wasn't really exercising at all.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
And
man.
Katya and I had talked before about how, you know, some people are afraid to exercise because they're going to get hurt, but there's also, you should also be afraid of not exercising at all because you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And
That's a really good point. We talked about it on your podcast. I really enjoyed that point.
yeah, and it's just such a different way of thinking about it. It was very new way, but it made so much sense. I was more active like when I was in my late 20s and early 30s. I didn't have a car. I walked several miles a day. I did yoga 5 times a week, and I did Aikido, which is a martial art where you're up in the air and falling down a lot. But like, I'd bust my knees and I just keep going and stuff like that. And so I did a lot of things that now I'm suffering from because I was stupid and did whatever. And in Aikido, most of the older people have knee replacements because Aikido is hard on your knees already. And so I think I've always loved to walk, as far as like if there's nothing else to do, because just being outside is just lovely. But as I've been trying to do more things, we've been doing some weights here, and it's not been, and I don't do anything like what you guys do, and I'm so in awe of it too. So I'm lifting baby teeny tiny weights, but then I feel the muscles in my back and I'm like, ooh, that's cool. And
They tell her to get the heavy weight and she grabs a 5-pound.
I'm getting better. I'm trying to take baby steps, since it's new muscles that I've never really worked on in things that I've done in the past. I don't want to break myself, but it feels good to try it, and everything isn't taking as long to heal as I thought it would for new things I'm working out. Now, I will also say if I'm hiking and it's all, you know, uneven terrain, I have to be careful of the tendons and ligaments in my feet a little bit more, that I never thought about it because I never felt them. But I think you have to be more mindful. But it's also kind of cool hearing from everyone about how the more mindful you are, the more you can do.
Yeah, better mind muscle connection, I guess. A lot of that is skill too. Like, we don't talk about it really, but I give people an example of, imagine trying to write with your left hand. Well, unless you're lefty, like you can, or trying to ride a bike or swim, whatever. And then people think that like they can just learn how to squat like this or do whatever exercise like this. Well, not really, because your brain doesn't know what the hell it's doing. So it's going to take a while. And in terms of like slipping on the ice or something else, like that's why you want to strengthen everything around the weak joints. Or like, I nearly did a split recently, just walking my dog. My legs went apart, but I caught myself because my adductors are strong because I pull sumo. So people who are like, I don't pull conventional. Yo, sumo is helpful too. Anyways, cool. Thanks for sharing.
And I get the lifting less weights, because I still do that, even lifting for all these years. If I'm unsure, I always start lower than what I think I should do, and I work my way up, because it's, yeah, I'm scared of getting injured too. So don't be scared about that part. I do it too.
Thank you for that.
The other thing that I think, at least for me, is as I've gotten older, I know my flexibility isn't as much. And maybe that's because I never focused on it before. And so having to focus on that. So, I mean, Katya will tell you, I still can't get my squat depth to where it needs to be because I don't have the ankle or the hip mobility that I did when I was 20. So
With support, you can though.
yes, with support I can. But on my own, no. It's just doesn't happen.
I think it's a combination of strength and mobility, so it's not just one. Yeah. And some of us just don't have, like, I guess, angles that are easier to do certain movements without as much mobility. like if you're a taller person, you can do one thing. If you're a shorter person, you are better at the other thing, or depending on the limb lengths. And so it like don't blame yourself for it. This is how your body is.
No, yeah. Well, and arthritis has tend to set in just a little bit too, and at my age, but which prevents some movements that are uncomfortable now.
Yeah. I would be curious what David says.
I'm more intentional about stuff than I was when I was younger, but I'm also, I'm well, psychologically I was always competitive, but now I'm, competing for, so I'm very, very focused on what I'm trying to accomplish. So that's a little different than when I was younger. I have to be a little more careful about what I eat. Like I had the same weight, like basically just showing up and doing whatever. I kept the same weight from about 25 to 50. And then when I turned 50, maybe I had to be a little careful. And then as I started lifting more, I have to be a little more careful because I do gain weight more. Part of it's muscle and that's fine, but I just generally eat more and have, I have to be more focused on my diet. But a lot of that's just for performance as well. It's just like I care more. Like the last couple of weeks, like after nationals, I just took a break. I just ate whatever I wanted. But then I'm like, I'm fine. I feel fine, but like I'm not making the gains that I was if I was watching my protein. And you don't just accidentally eat like 180 grams of protein a day. You just don't. You gotta try to do that. So that's a little different. I think my recovery is still pretty good, but I'm more respectful. Like I know that if I seriously hurt myself, it's not going to just grow back like it used to. So, no injuries is pretty high on the list, but there's not too many things I don't want to do. I'm not doing dumbbell flies right now because I'm afraid I'll hurt my shoulder because I get close to hurting my shoulder when I do it. So I switched to machine flies, but I try not to limit myself too much. Don't really get muscle soreness afterwards or anything. So I'm just kind of lucky on the recovery. My cardiovascular endurance is not what it used to be, but I'm also not training for it. So, that's a trade-off. I'm a lot stronger than I used to be. So I don't know how much of that is age versus just, what I'm focused on.
Yeah, for sure. I did write your points down. Really good point. You don't accidentally eat 180 grams of protein. Somebody asked me that at the Colorado Veg Fest this weekend. And I was like, yeah, this is probably about how much I eat. And they're like, how? And I'm like, well, you got to plan it. Like, it's not going to just happen. So, yeah. And making gains intentionally, not by accident. I feel like a young person, like your son, David, he can just start lifting and then, eat a little bit more. And he will definitely look different in just a couple of months. Not so much.
That's not going to happen. I have to, I focus my diet to maximize the performance, and it makes a difference. I mean, it really does, like for sure. And then like COVID helped also because I'm not staying out till like 4 a.m. drinking and going to Waffle House, every weekend. That helps, to be honest. That's probably not good for performance, It's fun. I don't think it's good for you.
Okay, less partying, but it improves performance. Yeah.
For sure.
I'm curious to hear about your cardiovascular performance, guys. I don't know if you want to add anything on the previous question, Harsh. You don't have to, but just asking.
Yes, I don't have like a lot to contribute with respect to recovery. Maybe I'll say like the thing that impacts my recovery a lot is sleep. If I don't get good sleep, then things don't go that well for me. Then working back off that is what impacts my sleep. So yeah, like eating late impacts my sleep. Like eating, I don't know, like basically like getting your body used to like I do like 3 hours at least. Eat 3 hours prior to trying to sleep. And if I don't follow that, whatever your body is accustomed to, I'm not saying 3 is a good number, but the point is get it used to something. Then like my sleep is less good. And then I mean, it's not a surprise we did like things on this, but alcohol doesn't help my recovery. In terms of food, I don't have much to say.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. Let's move to cardiovascular performance. I think mine has improved because I've been training more and actually knowing what I'm doing. However, since I gained weight, running has become harder on the knees. Sometimes it becomes harder on the lower back. And I feel like just because my body, my heart has to carry more muscle over a certain distance, it's a lot more work for it. So, that is causes some decrease in cardiovascular performance. What do you guys think?
I don't know that age is what I would consider age as a factor in my cardiovascular change. I think it's weight. So I weigh about 50 pounds more than I did, 5 years ago? And so a significant change based off from that.
I thought you were just going to say how much you hate it.
Well, and I do hate it. So
Okay.
I'm not a big fan of cardio.
I don't necessarily like cardio just for cardio's sake. I just want to run. I just want to go run. And when I was younger and playing sports, I hated running back then, but I never thought I was in shape at all. You don't realize how good of shape you're in until you're no longer in that shape. So then I got old, overweight, and out of shape. And when I tried to do anything, I couldn't do anything at all. But I've done a couple half marathons. But if I'm not actively running, 2 or 3 times a week, I don't really, I guess I keep it up to a certain degree. Like I can go out and run 3 miles. That's pretty much my benchmark. I can go run 3 miles with not many problems, even if I haven't run for a few weeks. There was a time when 5 was my low end, my watermark, but it's probably 3 because I'm still working out and doing stuff and running at least once a week. So, but I don't know. I'm still not in as good a shape as I was when I was in college playing sports, but I was, 100 pounds lighter back then. So it's probably more weight for me.
It's probably weight for most people. And if anything, we've just become more efficient athletes in terms of cardiovascular.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
I'd say my experience is similar to Katya's. I can't run like I used to or do anything that's cardiovascular like I could, but I also, couldn't deadlift 400 pounds when I could do those things. Like it's not that hard to just go forever when you weigh 130 pounds. You're not moving that much. Like I could do more pull-ups when I was weaker, but, I was a lot lighter. So it all depends. And it just, you just got to decide what it is you can't be good at everything. It's impossible. So, you could be okay at most things, but you can't be really good at everything rather. So.
Yeah. Oh, who disappeared? Megan. Okay, bye, Megan.
Comment, but it was in the private chat, I think. It says, "Hey, folks, got to take off. Thanks for the conversation."
Uh-oh, I didn't see it. Well, I'm glad you saw it. Thank you. What about you, Kathy and Cheryl?
Well, I've always hated running. And so running is, when I was in Aikido, I used to take care of a World War II Japanese guy, and then I had to run. So running was always something's wrong and I don't enjoy it. But what I'm doing now, because I'll walk a long time. And I'm not just strolling either. I'm going up hills, but when I'm on the treadmill now, I tried recently kind of doing some intervals or what I'm calling intervals. They may not be the real thing. So I'll walk up as fast as I can. And because I'm 5'1", so my legs are this long. So I can only go so many miles an hour before I would just be thrown off of it. And since I can't really do much more of that till I start running, I've been just really cranking up the hills and going for 8 and 12 until my heart's really beating and I'm starting to feel a little bit of pressure, then kind of coming down and then going and repeating it again and trying to stretch out my calves a lot in between. Because for me, I get cramped up in my calves. I've got big, strong calves that evidently need to be stretched out a lot. But that's what I'm doing now. And while I don't go, woohoo, I get to walk up a hill, I don't hate it the way, like if you said you have to run a mile or someone's going to kill Cheryl, I would do it and I would still hate it.
You do it with the dog sometime when you're trying to get
Well,
away.
that's my little joggy jog. Yeah, he's it's very sad little jog. He's dog reactive. So if there's another dog and I think he's going to have an issue, then yes,
You run.
I run, but I can walk faster than I do that jog
true.
usually.
It's true.
Now Cheryl hates running too.
Yeah, I've never been a runner. Like when I played softball, my coach used to yell at me and tell me to get the molasses out my ass. And like,
Gotcha.
I mean, like,
I'm happy to learn such nifty details about American sports.
But you know, I always took the positions that I always knew that I had some kind of advantage that would make me not have to run as much. Like I was a catcher because, you know, with all the equipment and stuff, usually I always got to pass a little bit because they'd be like, oh, we'll put a designated runner on for you so you can start getting your equipment back on. I'd be like, sweet.
The funny thing that I would love to bring up for Cheryl is that it's kind of like in the back of her mind, though, she feels like running is the perfect exercise, even though she doesn't want to do it. I know, and this is why I thought it would be interesting to talk about a little bit, because like I'm like, you don't like it, you don't even like walking as long as I walk. Why can't you find another exercise that you like that would be good for your body? Because we are both overweight. So running
my knees are bad.
And she has her knee will pop out. Yeah. So it seems like running. So I don't know, Katya, if you wanted to talk a little bit about maybe like sometimes we think there's this good or perfect exercise that we should somehow be doing, you know?
First, walking is great, but we already do a bunch of it just on a daily basis. So I say the more variety you have in your movements, the better off you are. Right? I think it's hard to disagree with that. And then there's no bad exercises. There's just the ones that you're not ready for. Kind of, I guess most of them. So it's better to not replace like walking with just one other thing, but maybe add some strength training routine that helps you fix the muscles that stabilize your knee, help you fix the muscles that stabilize your lower back, you know, strengthen your shoulders, mobilize your thoracic spine, your hips. So there's not just one thing, which is why we do a bunch of different things in strength training. And I know walking is just easy. You don't have to think about it. It's a benefit. And it has like, I guess, mental health benefits, running and walking, right? You just kind of go. But in terms of being ready for whatever life throws at you, you have to have variety. Right? David Harsh.
Sorry.
No worries.
Go ahead. I think that's why I like hiking. Like when we took that big 4-mile hike, because with the terrain being different, and then there's hills and just, you know, and I just feel like I'm working more muscles hiking than just walking down the road. And I thought I was going to be like super sore, but actually recovered really well from that. So I feel like that means that everything we're doing is moving us in the right direction.
And we're still we are trying new things. And a lot of the reason we're trying new things is from us talking to you, like as far as trying to do, you know, little bitty different things. And I know I can feel a difference, and I'm trying to do like be a grown up. And because I do not grown up push-ups, but I do them off the counter and stuff, you know, but I'm doing my little push-ups there and my little cats and dogs and all of that, and trying to get into more of a like, and for me, sometimes it's hard because my schedule's packed and I'm behind from taking 12 days off. And I'm like, when am I going to do this big 1-hour workout? And so but I'm in the kitchen, and if I'm waiting for something to finish sautéing, I can do a lot of that. So that's where I'm trying to go. So it's not perfect, but for my skill level right now, it still stretches me, if that makes sense. So I'm sure at some point that I will need to do more grown-up push-ups, and then I'll have to do something different.
Your push-ups off the counter are fine. I'm just going to ask you to include pulling movements too. We already push so much in life. We don't pull. We don't work our backs. Can you please get a band, put it in the door, and pull it, roll it, all kinds of angles, step on it, deadlift it? I think we talked about it on your show that we don't do as many pulling movements in life. So our posterior chain muscles on the back are underworked, and that's why we are like hunched little question marks. But that's awesome. I'm glad you include that stuff. My challenge question would be, you say you're busy. Will you still brush your teeth, yeah?
Most days.
Do you shower? Do you wash your hair?
Some days. I don't do that every day. I can tell you right now. I'm in my
Okay,
house.
cool. You don't need to work out every day.
You don't know if I brush my teeth or not.
No, but I'm asking
No, I
you.
really-
You're so busy. You're not going to stop brushing your teeth, right?
I'm trying to get it all in together and I'm not trying to make excuses as much as right now I'm trying to figure out where all the pieces go. Because with us not going out to eat at all, that's also upping my cooking time. Plus, I haven't posted a blog post, which is my job, in 4 weeks. Right? So I got to start making some money too. But I'm trying to make everything come together as much as possible, which is why I'm trying to bring this new way of eating into what I'm putting on the blog, these new exercises into the kitchen where I am more. So it's not a perfect system at all now. It's a hot mess, but you are absolutely right. And we do need to get one of those things to put on the door just to have there. So
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love it. Harsh, David.
I guess my 2 cents is like tracking a little my cardio is maybe not as good as what it used to be, but there is
Don't you bike?
not as much as I used to, I guess.
You don't have a car, man.
I know. I still don't bike as much as I used to, but I'm okay with it. It's interesting, like biking in a weird way sometimes helps my recovery, which is like kind of nice. There's like a fine balance. Like if I bike over a certain point, then it does not help my recovery. But if I bike a certain whatever sweet spot amount is my recovery, it's aided. But like, to your other point of like doing different forms of cardio, and I don't know, after a certain point you have to pick and choose what you value, and like one form of cardio might be enough for you or might not be enough for you. And yeah, you're not gonna be good at everything. Because like you have to balance shit. So
Yeah, you're right. Some moderate cardio within a 5-hour window from your workout, like after your workout, such as biking, walking, jogging, not sprinting, anything, helps your recovery. So that's why biking a little bit does.
Okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't know the actual science behind it.
Yeah, if you foam roll on top of that, that will even more help your recovery. A little stretch, a little cardio, a little foam roll, sweet.
Yeah. I guess I'm like I have a question, but it's like maybe a selfish question. But the question that I have is that like mentally, I don't think I'm old, and in this group, I'm probably not that old. So like I do whatever I do with respect to my lifting. I don't intend to keep doing it this intensely forever. There's just no way. But like how does that change with time. Like, obviously, there's like tons of factors. Like, I currently have my body. If I was my body plus 60 pounds, totally different ball game. I don't know how that's going to change, if that's going to change. No idea what the future holds in that respect. But like in general, there's no good general, but like pretend I'm your general case. How would that change? Like, yeah, there is no way I'm going to be lifting like 3 hours a day, multiple times a week in my 50s. Like, I'm going to be broken if I try that.
I mean, I don't do this today, but I mean, I work out 4 days a week. My workouts are roughly an hour, I guess. 2 years ago, it was 5 to 6 days a week that we worked out. Probably at least an hour.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just finding the time more. I don't know that age has hampered me, because if you went back 20 years, I didn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't work out that often, or that for that length of time. But it's more difficult now because of the things in my life, because of my age, than it is my age, if that makes sense.
And for me, it's just how I feel. When we were doing 5 days a week, it was just too much. I was just tired all the time. So 4's where my sweet spot, where I feel best. So where I feel like I have a life outside of the gym and work.
Anybody else?
I just think it's interesting what you were just saying too, because about it's your sweet spot between doing the things you need to do and having a life, and that's a neat way to think about it, and an aspect you don't usually think about when you're making your list of all the things you need to squeeze in a week. So thank you.
Yeah, it was, you can ask Katya. When we first started working out with her, I kept saying the workouts are too long. They're too long, shorten them. So now things are shortened and we superset things. And I don't know, it's just, you go to work, you work 8 or 9 hours, and then you come home, and then you got to go to the gym and work for an hour and a half, and then you got to get enough sleep. So I just felt like I didn't have any downtime. So, but I feel like I got it now with my 4 days a week, 3 days during the week, and then I typically run Saturday mornings. And about the cardio thing, we once asked a trainer what the best cardio was, and their answer was whatever you'll do. So there's no perfect cardio. If you're not going to run, there's no reason to say you're going to run. I would never ask Michelle to go run with me, but she will do the stair climber or the bicycle. So whatever you'll get out there and actually do, I think is the best.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, since I have trained bodybuilders, and like most of them don't really want to do cardio, like they just like to lift, but like for stage you got to really lean out. I guess we do incline walk with a lot of them, like maybe 4 times a week, 40 minutes. Or I used to run. I would run for a shorter duration, but I would do some kind of lunges and splits and sprints to just vary it, so it's not boring for me. I would like pick songs, and like on chorus I would do one thing, and when there was a verse I would like sprint or something. So yeah, it was whatever you're gonna do. Totally. Harsh, to answer your question from the strength training perspective and like how that changes when you do this for years, I guess Alexi has been training and competing since he was 9, I think, years old. He's 41 now. So I guess you do get tired, so volume decreases. You may increase amount of rest days between your lifts, or the way you stagger it. For example, like here's your bench program, right? Like we wrote you the next like phase, and the bench has 3 to 4 workouts a week. And here's your like squat, bench, and deadlift that has 3 workouts. So for example, when you were younger, you could stagger it and do squat, bench, deadlift one day, squat and bench another day, and just bench another day, and maybe just squat another day. When you are older, you can stagger them so that they're not usually like SBD on one day. So you have a lot less crap, but then it's kind of up to you whether you want to just push one day and recover central nervous system wise next day, or how you better recover. Because like Carol said, you just got to watch your body. Everybody's different. I prefer having, and Alexi prefers having full rest days, just doing nothing outside of walking, just being 5 to 10K steps a day, active, moderately active. Some people prefer working out 5 times a week and splitting into shorter workouts, but then they're not as exhausted. So depends. Any last comments before we close down?
I just want to say thanks for inviting us in to hear all this wonderful stuff. It's a lot of great information, and thanks for everybody for sharing stuff with us.
Of course. Yeah, we enjoy having you. Kathy and Cheryl, you're always welcome. And I would love to go work out with you again. Can't wait. But I'm not going to push it. I'll let you guys ask me.
It won't be that long. We're just out of whack from taking 12 days and do something different, but it's not off our plate at all. I want you to know that, because
yeah, it's
you're awesome. You're just awesome.
Thank you. Alrighty, well, I'm gonna remove y'all from the stream and wrap it up then. Thank you everybody for coming. Bye, David. Bye, Michelle and Carol. Bye, Harsh. And bye, Kathy and Cheryl. Thank you everybody for tuning in to Total Body Lab Clients and Friends bi-weekly chat. Really had a lot of fun today. Everybody shared personal stories. Everybody gave examples, asked questions. If you wanted to rewatch the ones that we had weeks and weeks before, we have a lot of other interesting topics, such as how to exercise when you're short on time, what to do if you don't want to stop lifting when you're traveling, best ways to burn fat, and myths that people still believe about that. And one of our clients presented on environmental impacts of eating animals last week. I think that was an amazing presentation with lots of data. You don't have to be vegan to reduce your carbon footprint, so go watch that in the live section on Total Body Lab YouTube, and I will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.